by that idea and doesn't think about the possible consequences, which, sadly, are quickly visited upon him.
Right, and in the book, a lot of people went through this and died.
Each idea literally goes up in flames.
They really only showed this one guy die, but in the
There's
books
not
it was
food enough in the city.
they tried a
The
bunch
people are
of them.
hungry.
Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown. I'm here with a look at the House of the Dragon Inside Episode 6. And again, I'll start off with just a little gist of what this episode was about. It's called Small Folk, and it was partially about the small folk and the things that go on with that, but was also about the shift in power in the Greens. In fact, I think this episode makes good use of shifting various pieces on the board of this Game of Thrones. Lord Corlys has accepted a position as Hand, even though we weren't sure that he was going to last episode. Alicent has been dismissed to tend to more domestic pursuits. Aegon's now dealing with this abusive relationship with his brother, who is now also regent. Larys was also sent away, and Silverwing has gotten his new rider. Remember to stay till the end, though, and I'll talk about the worsts and bests of the episode, along with how this episode was. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it in between? I'll tell you at the end. For now, let's start inside the episode.
Episode 206 is entitled Small Folk. The camera is constantly circling characters to give the sense that this world is turning very slowly amidst this battle between the blacks and the greens.
In a way, it's a boiling over of all of these things that have been simmering for so long.
He dares to summon me with haste.
I find Aemon to be one of the most interesting characters. He's driven by a very cold rationality. Aegon makes choices out of fear or anger, whereas Aemon's revenge will always be served cold.
Aegon has so many people constantly trying to puppeteer him. It's Larys, or it's Alicent, or it was Otto, whereas now we've got Aemon. He's very difficult to manipulate.
In a state of war, he's going to fight, just like Daemon.
You cannot be your puppet.
If he dares face me.
I think Aemond is obsessed with Daemon in a way. I think he grew up in Daemon's
much
shadow
so.
and hearing about the mystique of him. Aemond has spun Daemon up into being this rival to his and also somebody that he wants to emulate and then probably kill one day.
Mother, a word.
I think Aemon genuinely sees Alicent as no more than his mother and a woman, so why would she be on the small council?
Aemon sees the world in a very black and white way. We've always talked about Aemon as being the ultimate pragmatist. So he is not banishing his mother from the council out of cruelty. It's very simply like, I'm sorry, what is it that you do here and what's your role?
You serve the realm well. At a time of need. That need is ended. So long as he's seen as this indestructible, horror icon-esque, Terminator-like figure, he'll be forever all-powerful.
Have the indignities of your childhood not yet sufficiently been avenged? She tries to penetrate whatever heart he has left, but it's to no avail.
Sir Stephen Darklin, Your Grace.
I need more dragon riders.
Who could do it?
You.
I think it's an act out of desperation of Rhaenyra's because she realizes she's never going to have the ground army. She doesn't know how Daemon is going to break. And even if the Riverlanders do go her way, they're still weeks away by March. She takes another one of these pretty outlandish but understandable risks in trying to put Stephen Darklin on a dragon.
Perhaps the gods will favor us. The first part of this journey is kind of an act of magical thinking. And I don't think it's that pragmatic. I think it's based on faith. This is part of the sort of fanaticism that we start to see her exhibit.
It's a very dangerous thing to do because you suddenly take the idea of Targaryen superiority as dragon riders and you give it to anyone that has Targaryen blood. So you sort of democratize riding a dragon.
It is a risk to life and limb, but on the other side of it, it means being written into the history books. Darklin gets intoxicated by that idea and doesn't think about the possible consequences, which, sadly, are quickly visited upon him.
Right, and in the book, A lot of people went through this and died.
Each idea literally goes up in flames.
They really only showed this one guy die, but
There
in the
is
books
not
it was
food enough in the city.
they try to
The
bunch
people are
it.
hungry, and their anger is rising. I think Laris is smart enough to try and warn Aemond that people are hungry. And when people are hungry, they become desperate. When people become desperate, things happen.
I think Laris is suggesting this in an effort to become the Hand. And he wants to show Aemond that he has an understanding of what's happening.
Send word to Otto Hightower.
Your Grace.
His Grace, the King, has regained consciousness this morning.
What happy news?
Aemond has had to accept the fact that his brother survived, and he now has to deal with that, but I don't think Aemond is looking to give up his regency anytime soon either.
Ad hoc, he is the king. And of course, you'd want to hold on to that.
That is a fucking terrifying
Is in
situation.
grave danger. Now Aemond's, prowling around the castle. He's always had these suspicions of Aemond, but never really taken them too seriously. He wants to be in that position more than Aegon ever did.
Seems my brother has a long recovery ahead of him, Grand Maester.
If Aegon was to fully recover and he was to tell people what Aemond did, that puts Aemond's newfound position in jeopardy. And so he's a major threat at this point.
Right. It's really terrifying because you've got him in an
It's getting pretty
abusive
restless in the streets of
relationship
King's Landing, and I think
situation.
all the sympathy that they
And
gained after Jaehaerys'
if
death, a
he
lot
can't
of that has been
freaking do
spent.
anything about it.
And you have people who are scared and sick and hungry, and when the masses get restless, they point at the person in the highest levels of power and they blame them.
You, where'd you get that food?
Granted, he was previously the abuser.
I think the people at King's Landing have learned by now. The people in charge are only going to give them what they have to. I don't think they're stupid, and I think that's what happens. I think the aristocracy undermine people as a collective. Whoever's going to supply them and save them from the famine is the person they're going to choose to be in charge.
Right.
Aemon's downfall is that he doesn't understand the power of the small folk. Rhaenyra, through Miss Arya, comes to understand this.
She knows what makes them tick. She's one of them, and not just how to win their hearts, but actually what they really need.
Miss Arya is giving Rhaenyra that layer that she's not getting from anybody else in their council, which is, how do I, from so far away on this literal island on Dragonstone, touch and affect King's Landing?
And in this war, that psychological battle is very important.
Your Graces, we must leave.
Alicent goes through this whole experience in this episode of having all these layers of her family slowly stripped away from her. Her father is gone and missing, and her son might not survive his wounds. Cole is off on the march. Aemond is a monster, and she goes to the Sept to find comfort. And even that is not a sanctuary for her.
There's the crate of fishes!
There's a blockade. There's no food. The small folk are starving, and so there's no wonder that they see the royals come in their cart and all their finery, and it's such a slap in the face to them. It's very Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. It's cause for revolt.
The effects of Aegon and now Aemon's reign have bubbled over and nearly taken her and Helena's life.
It is as we hoped, a warning to the usurpers that you have strength beyond what they accredited.
It's been such an interesting part of this series for me, understanding that relationship. You watch two people who are deeply suspicious of one another develop a form of trust.
Their relationship has found
very
dynamic,
quickly.
which is not
At least on
dissimilar
the show,
to
that's
how
what
they
it looks
first
like.
met, which was this kind of open frankness and honesty and really taking each other at face value.
In many ways, she is the off-council hand of Rhaenyra.
I think Miss Arya's power increases in Rhaenys' absence because I think Rhaenyra is desperate in looking for that sympathetic female voice in her life.
Within a patriarchal structure, they underestimate both of us, really.
I believe you are meant to be queen.
And to what extent is there a degree of threat in watching two women begin to guide the path to war?
Your Grace, the dragon Sea Smoke has been sighted. He has a rider.
Sea Smoke has been claimed, and she needs to go find out who, leaving the audience wondering what's going to happen next.
What's gonna happen next? Sea Smoke has claimed his rider. Alright, so let's see. For this episode, I thought the best scene was actually where Laris was talking to Aegon. Just telling him straight up, look, this is what you're going to have to deal with. And he has personal insight because he had to deal with that growing up with a clubfoot. Because of the place and time frame that he grew up in, what did they blame it on, at least according to him? Sorcery. And that's not surprising. Like, throughout the book, they talk about every single birth defect that they discuss when a baby is born. They act like it's sorcery, or they're a dragon, or that there's some other nefarious thing afoot. And yeah, it wouldn't be surprising at all that even somebody that we might see as decent would say stuff like that about their little baby or about their kid. But I thought the person who plays Laris did such a fabulous job at really bringing that emotion in, because we don't really see a lot of that from him. But this time we see this kind of inner turmoil that maybe has caused him to be kind of the way he is. And him talking to Aegon like that, like he's telling him something he really needs to know, that this is what's going to happen, this is the reality. And he also says that you're in danger, but you already know that. You know, I think you already know that, and he obviously does. Like I said, that's such a terrifying position. It's gone from Aegon was the abuser of Aemon, and now Aemon has become Aegon's abuser, but he's so much more dangerous. And Aegon is now in a position where he can't defend himself. He cannot help himself. He has no way to protect himself. And his brother, who tried to kill him, is threatening him and making him feel that he absolutely can't say anything to anyone. And he's in serious danger. So, fucking terrifying. But yeah, I thought Laris did a really good job there. The worst scene, I think, was when they had Alicent and Helena leave the sept that they were at and go out into the freaking rioting streets with all the small folk that are going crazy. What the hell? They show them eventually get into their carriage. Why didn't they have the freaking carriage there waiting for them so that they could get them out safely? No, they have them go out into the streets where the chaotic small folk are revolting and put them in imminent danger. Biggest winner of the episode, Sea Smoke. He got his rider. He did unfortunately revolt against one of the riders, but he got his chosen rider, the person that he wanted. And frankly, that scene of Adam of Hull being chased down by Sea Smoke, I put that as my master acting, that whole scene with Adam of Hull being chased down by Sea Smoke. I thought that was fabulous. Biggest loser for the episode, Sir Darkland. Sorry to see you go, but he was a little too timid and a little too nervous, I think. Yeah, Adam of Hull was timid and nervous, but I think Sea Smoke already, that was who he wanted. That was his choice. He was like, this is my rider. I am going to claim my rider, period. And Sir Darkland wasn't it. Sorry. Now, deficit acting? I have to think about that one for a little bit. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure for worst acting. I mean, I could say the situation of this repeated, bringing up that these are women, we know they're women, and you don't want women on the council, and you don't want a woman as a regent and all this stuff, but you've been led by women the whole frickin' time anyway, and you're acting like this is a problem. But that's not really bad acting. That's just part of what they're trying to show. My judgment for the episode, though, worthy. I really liked this episode. There was a lot going on in it that I really appreciated, and a lot of movement of the pieces on this board to put us forward in the right direction. Well, maybe not the right direction to some people, but the right direction to get things moving forward. But that's all I got for you this week. I will see you next week. Bye. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, Click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.